Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm wearing a little bit of a hint as far as what this video is about. I don't know if you probably don't remember. Let me know in the comments if you do, because gold star for you. But I bought this set. It is a matching set actually. See? From H&M, and I'm like 95% sure it's Stockholm. So looking at it, also just remembering what the pattern was called. They also made it in like a dress too, but anyway, because I'm nostalgic like that, I thought I would wear this set for this video where I share everything that I wore on a recent trip to Stockholm. So I've kind of started doing these videos, I'd say in the last year, just because I do put a lot of thought and in like a fun way. I don't personally find it stressful. For me, it's one of the more exciting parts of a trip is planning, like, what am I gonna wear? It kind of just adds to the appeal and the excitement. And so I like sharing that with you all because I put a lot of effort in, and maybe we can give you guys ideas for any trips that you're taking, or if you're just like nervous or just unsure what to wear in certain cities if you've never been before, maybe this is a nice touch point. I'm also gonna call out, which I honestly will say, I did a pretty good job in terms of wearing every single thing that I packed. There was only one thing that I didn't wear, and that was this bright red jumpsuit from Zara that I got. And I didn't wear it because, and this is kind of my upfront piece of advice. I mean, granted, wear whatever you want, wherever you want. Like, I'm not here to tell you to do anything, but what I observed, and it's no surprise, is that Stockholm and the Nordic countries in general, I think, seem to have a very muted color palette, very classic, simple aesthetic, which I love. I mean, as you guys know, if you're OGs of my channel, that's really my aesthetic most of the time, even though I am wearing pattern right now, but that's a rarity. And so, yeah, I mean, I think my personal aesthetic really grooves with that. If anything, this jumpsuit was a bit outside of my comfort zone, and bringing it, especially for a lot of the events and things that I was doing, I did have some more formal events to go to, so I thought, oh, this could be a nice option. But yeah, in the end, for me personally, it was a bit too just like in your face. So that's my only piece of advice I would say is maybe steer away a little more from the color. I felt like my outfits that really landed well with, you know, the groups that I was with, or at least in my mind, they landed well from what people said in terms of compliments and things, were my monochrome looks. People really loved those. So yeah, I'm gonna walk through each thing that I wore and why and what I did. So yeah, let's jump right in. Okay, so I'm going to start out with why I was in Stockholm, because it does matter because it's kind of the basis of all the outfits that I wore. I had a really great opportunity come up for my other YouTube channel and my Instagram, which I will leave linked below. I have an art YouTube and Instagram where I cover various events in the art world. So the Market Art Fair, which happens once a year in Stockholm, actually invited me out to not only go to the fair, but to also see a lot of incredible institutions, art museums, Stockholm School of Economics, just like so many incredible things that they had planned for me and for a couple of other journalists. So yeah, so it was a bit of like a press trip. And so that really dictated a lot of what I wore and why, just because A, I wanted to look professional. B, I wanted to look cool. I'm in like an environment where there's lots of artists and curators, and I just had a lot of fun, cool events with very interesting, sophisticated people to go to. So I definitely wanted to look put together and sophisticated, and hopefully that's what kind of happened with these outfits. So I got to Stockholm. I was in Stockholm for a total of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days, which is quite a long time. And that's actually another little piece of advice that I'll share with you is my savior when I am traveling and I have to pack a lot of clothes and make a lot of outfits is I pack like 5 black t-shirts and a bunch of white t-shirts, just because the base layers, not to get gross, but those are kind of things I realize I sweat through a lot during the day. It's less that I need to change out my blazers or skirts or things like that, but just having like plenty of t-shirts as base layers is critical. And that was very true on this trip, because apparently a couple weeks prior, it was still snowing in Stockholm, but when I got there, it was anywhere between, 55, 60 degrees in the morning and then 75 degrees in the middle of the day. And we were really walking around for a lot of the day. So it definitely got very, very warm for sure. So I got to Stockholm on a Wednesday and I stayed at the Nobis Hotel. The Nobis Hotel. Sorry. So they put me up in the Nobis Hotel, which was great. I actually extended and paid for the rest of my stay, so it was about 50-50 split because I wanted to go see galleries and stuff a little bit later than the trip entailed. And so, yeah, the Nobis Hotel was gorgeous. It's this really beautiful boutique hotel that has this incredible courtyard, and I loved it. I would definitely recommend it. I mean, it definitely was petite for sure, I would say, and this is coming from someone that lives in New York. It's definitely on the smaller side. And I did really try to film a lot of my outfits in this little full-length mirror they had right by the window, which I thought looked pretty good actually when I was filming them, and then I went back and looked at the footage and it was just very hard to kind of see what I was wearing. So I will insert like little clips here and there, but if you're wondering why I'm kind of talking you through as opposed to just showing you in real time, that's why, because the footage was like a little bit subpar. But yeah, I arrived in Stockholm. I did a red eye. Unfortunately, I really had no other option. There weren't any daytime flights. So I arrived at like 7 a.m. Thankfully, the fare booked me the hotel room for the night before, so I was actually able to go straight into the hotel and just pass out, which was such incredible luxury, honestly. That was incredible. So I took like a 3-hour nap, and then I was still pretty tired and jet lagged, and I did not want to waste the entire day. All I had was a dinner that night with the fair's team. And so I just wanted to look casual and cute. And so I put on my new little Calvin Klein super baggy jeans, which I loved. I just wanted something like loose and carefree, and then a little white t-shirt, and then my COS little twill jacket that everyone always asks me, did you keep this one from that video when I bought 4 jackets? And I did, and I love it. It's just like the perfect little lightweight jacket because, again, even though it got up to 75 during the day, in the shade it could still be quite cool. And I also wore my funky little mesh shoes. I actually brought 2 pairs of mesh shoes on this trip, and I loved both of them. I feel like they just add like a cool kind of modern touch to really simple outfits especially, and so they make everything, in my opinion, just like a little bit more fashion. So this was just like a very chill, casual outfit, and I went over to Soho House. This Stockholm Soho House is unreal. I'm going to insert some photos just because you're not really supposed to take photos or videos, but it's in an old converted church, and it's really, it's so cool. It's like one of the coolest Soho houses for sure. So that was really fun, and I just had a little bit of lunch and some coffee, and then did a little bit of work. And then I kind of just walked around the city. I walked by the water. I mean, it was stunning, but I also didn't want to exert myself too much because I knew that over the next couple of days I had a really jam-packed schedule. So then I went back to the hotel, and then that night I had a dinner, like I mentioned, with the art fair team and some of the international curators. And so it was at a really nice restaurant, very beautiful, called Bonnie's, which was in another boutique hotel called the Bank Hotel. And I'll insert some clips there. Oh, I mean, as you could expect from Sweden, being on the water like that, I had the most incredible fish. I had the most incredible fish my entire time that I was there. Pretty much every meal was fish, which maybe not so great if you don't love fish, but I love fish. So I was like over the moon. And it was so delicious. They also had this little dessert that you can like crack open. It's like, because they're in an old bank, it's their famous dessert where it's like a piggy bank, like a chocolate piggy bank, and you bang it open, and then there's like meringue and all kinds of caramel, delicious things inside of it. So that was really fun. But for that dinner, I was meeting the team for the first time. Again, I wanted to look fashionable and like sophisticated, but I also, you never want to look like you're trying too hard per se when you're meeting, or I don't, at least when I'm meeting strangers for the first time. I want to feel cool but comfortable. So for me, this outfit really checked all of those boxes. I wore this gorgeous maxi skirt that haven't worn actually since my engagement back in October. Really beautiful kind of funky navy color from Mango, goes all the way to the floor. And then I wore my Victoria Beckham wool blazer over the top, and then just a little H&M silk blend wool t-shirt. And then I actually pulled out some oldies, but some goodies, because this was actually, sounds weird, but this was part of the trip I was really nervous about, because a lot of my outfits I wanted to wear heels. But again, our schedule was so jam-packed, and Stockholm is a big walking city that I was nervous to just have uncomfortable heels, basically. So I pulled these out. I don't know if you guys watched my really, really old video. I will link it above and below. I mean, it's truly like one of the first videos that I ever filmed on this channel. So apologies for the quality, but these are some shoes from Aloha's, who I love. And it actually kind of reminded me, I need to like look at them again, because I think they're such a great brand and I think they have such a great sustainable model. But this was a shoe, and I actually have them in gray, and I packed the gray ones too, but I didn't wear them. I just wore the black ones. And so I wanted to wear them that night to really make sure that they were comfortable, because I was planning on wearing them the whole next day with the suit. So yeah, so these are kind of that. They have like, this is like a tiny bit of a dated look, but I don't know, I still think they look cool with the whole like puffy trend, but they're super comfortable because of that. Like this thing just cradles your feet, it doesn't rub your feet, and then it's got a fun kind of like chunky block toe like that. Super comfortable. I love these shoes. I'm so excited that I brought them back out again, because they were fantastic, and I know I can wear them all over New York now, because I wore them, walked to the restaurant, walked home, wore them the whole next day. Spoiler, they're fantastic. Oh my gosh. Another thing that I packed were all three of my Flattered bags. I have this bag from Flattered. I've talked about it so many times. I've styled it in pretty much like every single one of my videos. It's my favorite bag, hands down. Obviously, I bought it 3 times over. And don't worry, I have not forgotten. I'm gonna do a specific video just about this bag, because I love this bag so much. So I won't get too much into the bag, but just wore this with it again, because Flattered is from Stockholm. So I also, again, feeling kind of nerdy, wanted to wear Swedish brands at all times if possible. Oh, that reminds me, my plain outfit, again, because I was feeling nostalgic and nerdy, I wanted to wear my totem coat. So I wore my giant camel totem coat, which in full disclosure, I really only wore on the plane because it actually wasn't that cold at any point, but whatever. I tried, I wanted to wear my totem coat. So wore the totem coat on the plane, and then I just wore a little linen set from H&M, and I don't even remember. I think I wore my Adidas like tennis shoes, because I can wear my compression socks with them. Anyway, pretty standard plain outfit for me, but wanted to represent the Swedish brands as much as possible throughout this trip. Okay, so the next morning was the real intense day. So we had a press breakfast in the morning at the Spirit Museum, which I thought was gonna be like Japanese spirits kind of thing. No, it truly is it's a museum about alcohol, but it's where the fair started. It's where they were showing emerging Nordic artists, I think, or maybe just emerging artists. Yes, whatever. The emerging kind of section of the fair. And started there, and then we would move our way over to Liljevalchs, where they had the actual full-blown fair. And so I wanted to look really cool again, but very put together. So I wore the light colored Victoria Beckham suit. I actually ended up keeping both suits, and I know that might come as a little bit of a surprise, because in the video, I feel like I was a little disappointed in them. But as I wore them, and as I was talking to my fiance about it and kind of bouncing back and forth, he was like, they look amazing. Like, they're really, really cool. I think you'll regret returning them. And then, to be honest, the parts that I thought or think are not quite as well done as I wanted them to be in terms of lining, I actually kind of think they did that to make it more breathable, because it is summertime and springtime when they're releasing this stuff. And I noticed that as I was wearing it, that it was very lightweight. The blazer was very breathable. And so I don't like take back what I said, but I did just want to fill you guys in as to where I'm at with the suits. But this suit was the perfect thing to wear. I love wearing a suit to an art fair. I actually wore the black one to Freeze, New York, which I'll insert a little photo there, and I felt so cool, so confident. I wore the light colored suit because, again, it felt more Nordic to me and more springtime. And I paired it again with these shoes because they're just a very comfortable heel and a little black t-shirt. And I actually brought my big flattered bag. So this is my first time wearing this bag, and it was so critical for this trip because I needed a lot of space for like a pair of flat shoes just in case my feet hurt, my giant camera, notebook, water. Like I just kind of needed more space for a bunch of stuff, and that was great. I wore it the day before to Soho House to put my iPad in. It's just a really great gigantic bag. In fact, I literally still have like deodorant wipes, blister bandages. I was so paranoid about getting blisters. Oh, look. Oh my God. That's so funny. Little like licorice stuff in here. Anyway, so that bag was really fantastic. Wore that the whole day. I will say I'm super happy that the suit is part linen. It's a linen viscose blend. Actually wrinkled even more than I kind of wanted it to. So there's definitely more linen in it. I sat down in a car kind of in between places, and you could tell on the blazer it got a little crinkled, which was like a little bit of annoying, but that's just kind of the name of the game with linen. So in general, was really happy to be wearing linen because it got so hot by the middle of the day. I was like dying wearing a full suit. And so, yeah, so we did the fair. We also went over to the Moderna Museet to see the big opening and see a talk from Vaginal Davis. I really wish I could have seen more of the museum actually, because there was a Rashid Johnson show as well as the Maurizio Catalan show, which was like what I really wanted to see. But we didn't have time because then we actually had lunch and a tour of the School of the London Economics, which sounds random if you think, oh, you're on an art outing, why would you go see or did I say the London? I keep saying the London School of Economics by mistake. The Stockholm School of Economics, just in case. But they actually had a really, really cool program that they were walking us through, which is the thing called art classrooms, where they're trying to incorporate contemporary art into not necessarily the education, but to let their students know the importance of contemporary art within society. And I think it was so smart and so interesting because they were saying that like we raise future leaders, and I think it's really important for future leaders to understand the importance that art plays, because these future leaders a lot of times are the ones that are like approving funding and whatnot. So yeah, it was just very thoughtful and very creative to see how a school that usually is focused on, you know, economics, business, math, like that kind of stuff, to also just really highlight why it's important to have a diverse education and why art is important and how it really ignites conversation around important issues and stuff. So anyway, that was really fantastic. Still wearing the suit. So then we went back to the fair. I kind of finished all my content there. And then I went back to the hotel, and again, it was super hot. I ended up really enjoying just a nice glass of white wine with my sister, who also came into town over from Poland. She was staying with me for the rest of the trip. And I just changed into my little gray Margiela jeans. I kept these little heels on. I put on a black t-shirt, and then I had a little, just my black wool blazer from Victoria Beckham as well. I only bought the blazer. I didn't bring the suit. I brought the whole other suit, but I needed to kind of be careful in terms of like how much stuff I was packing, even though I did bring 2 massive suitcases. Yeah, so we had a nice glass of wine. I then had a little shower because that night was kind of the big bang dinner with a lot of very interesting, cool people, curators from all over, many Nordic countries really, but all over Europe, as well as just all of the different partners. So like BMW and various champagne brands and stuff. Artists were there as well. So I wanted to look a little more elevated, but still, again, not like I'm like trying too hard. So I went for a monochrome all cream outfit with one of my favorite skirts from Mango, this maxi skirt that I just love, that I wore in Chicago as well. It's just like the best skirt. And I have a winter version in gray, which I love just as much, with a matching blazer. This was a really beautiful skirt, and then I just had on a little Airism nude tank and then a Uniqlo little sleeveless cashmere sweater top on top of that. I felt really elegant. I paired it with, again, these oldie but goodies from Mango, these little mules, which were also super comfortable, very easy to walk in. I think very sexy but understated. Love these. I'm so glad. These are really a size 42. That's wild. But yeah, these are great. They still make these. I will link them below, but they are at least a year old at this point. And then my little flattered suede bag, because yeah, love having this in 2 different colors, because I just feel like, yeah, covers all your bases basically. So that's what I wore that night. We had dinner out at the Artipelag, which is this gorgeous place. I really am shooting myself for not getting more footage from out there, but again, it was quite a busy night. I was meeting people and talking to people and stuff, so I got a little distracted, but it was out kind of in the woods, and it's just this like stunning museum, and we had dinner there, and it was just absolutely fantastic. So really, really big day that day. So then Friday, another incredible day, not quite as jam-packed, thank goodness, but we actually started the day off at the park. So we went to the Princess Estelle Sculpture Park. So the royal family, I guess, owns all of this land, and it's so beautiful. I would love to ride horses through that or run through it. It's just like it's so much more beautiful than Central Park. It's stunning. But again, it was quite warm that day, and I knew that. I knew we were going to be outside kind of walking around the park, because we wanted to see the various sculptures. There were like 5 key sculptures in this park. And so I wanted to be a little more comfortable. Definitely wasn't going to wear heels or anything, obviously. So I had on just little Mary Jane flats. And then I still wanted to look nice, of course. So I wore the Victoria Beckham lapel-less cream blazer just over, again, a new black t-shirt and little Zara black shorts. And then I wore my big bag again, which the funniest part of that is I showed up, and then one of the women who worked for the Princess Estelle Sculpture Park had the exact same bag. So that made me feel good, just knowing that I was wearing what the locals were wearing. So that was really fun. So we walked around the sculpture park, and then we had lunch at the Rosendale Tradgard. I will link everything down below in case you are going to Sweden. You're kind of wondering what all these cool places are, because I mean, yeah, the itinerary and the level of detail they put in for us was just so incredible and so thoughtful. We're so lucky. But yeah, had this really gorgeous lunch, asparagus, salad, stunning. Quite warm, but quite beautiful. And then afterwards, I had a private tour of the Carl Els, I'm not pronouncing that right either, one of the most famous Swedish sculptors, other than Claes Oldenburg, of course, but one of the older Swedish sculptors. So I got to see his studio, walk through, see it. It was absolutely stunning. They have another cool program as well where they partner with young artists to kind of bring a contemporary flair into the older space, which I think is really cool. So that was fantastic. And then that was really the end of kind of the really formal itinerary. And I went back to the hotel, and then that is when my sister and I did some shopping, which hopefully you guys will have already seen that video, sharing all my amazing purchases from House of Dagmar and Totem. And yeah, then we also wanted to see a few galleries that day, because I needed to see galleries on Saturday in addition to Friday, just to make sure I could kind of fit them all in. So I came home and I changed into, again, because it was quite warm, just a really easy breezy, this beautiful dress that I featured in the COS kind of spring summer big shopping drop from COS that I did a few months ago. And this, I've worn this dress a few times, but this is the first time I've really been out and like photographed in it and stuff. And I just feel really beautiful when I wear this dress, honestly. Again, I'm not the biggest dress fan, but this one with like the pleats, and I wore them with my really fun Jeffrey Campbell little mesh Mary Janes, and then my big flattered bag. I just felt pretty. There's really no other way to say it. I felt comfortable and beautiful, and that's really all you could ask for. And I am really happy I didn't return this for the black one. I was very close to doing that, but I do think it's special, and I have a lot of black dresses in my wardrobe, so I'm glad I have something a little bit lighter for spring, because I just think this like stone color is so beautiful. I think it actually might be on sale right now too, so make sure that you check that out. So we wore that, and then there was actually a little drink celebration back at the Moderne Musik Museum. So I kind of just re-wore the outfit I had on the day before when we had wine at the hotel, where I wore the Margiela jeans and then just little heels and the Victoria Beckham blazer. I feel like the Margiela jeans, like if you know, you know, you know. So I just like wearing them, especially around like artier crew, but I still wanted to look casual because it was just like drinks at the museum, celebrating Vaginal Davis. And I didn't want to look like quite as done up as I did, say, for dinner at the big event the other night. So jeans and a blazer, I just think you can't really go wrong with that. And it was so, so stunning. We walked back by the water. The other crazy thing about Stockholm is that it's so light in the summertime. You know, of course it's extremely dark in the wintertime, but it's so light for so long in the summer. The sun would rise at 4:30, wake me up, you know, obviously in addition to jet lag. And then the sun would set at like 10:30. So it was like 10 o'clock at night, and we were walking home and the sun was just starting to set, which was really kind of crazy in your brain to deal with, but super magical at the same time, especially as you're like walking by the water and stuff. So that was really, really beautiful. And then Saturday was the final day. It's so sad. So yeah, Saturday was really just about seeing a ton of galleries. I just had a lot that I wanted to hit. And again, I knew I was getting kind of photographed for my Instagram. And so I may have thought like, even though I like oversized clothing, if I know I'm going to take pictures, I do try to think a little bit about what my body looks like, just because if you wear giant sacks, sometimes that doesn't like photograph as well. But anyway, I wanted to wear another just kind of chill, classic, sophisticated monochrome look. And right before my trip, I just had this vision of, I bought these are my favorite trousers ever from COS. I talk about them in so many videos. I have them in black, navy, and then when I saw them that they were available in this gray color, because they weren't for quite a while, they were sold out for quite a while. So when they brought back this gray, I bought them and I was like, yes, love these. And then in my head, I just had this vision where they had this little knit waistcoat that is also the same gray. It's kind of like an hourglassy long line. And I was just like, man, that would be a cool outfit to wear in Stockholm. And I usually try to not do that. I try not to just buy stuff for like a particular event or particular whatever. But like, this is a pretty, like I would wear this into the office. Like there's so many places I'd wear this outfit. But I was just like, man, I would love this before my trip. I would really love this before my trip. So the day I was flying out, I ran over to COS because it was the COS at World Trade Center. It was the only one that had it still in stock. And I ran in and I was like, it says you have this in an extra small. It was like, they had just opened. It was like 10 a.m. The guy was like, let me like check in the stock room. Cause it's not new. I think it's from like last season or something. And so they found it. He's like, do you want to try it on? I was like, no, I just want to buy it. So I bought it in extra small. It's perfection. And I think it's so flattering. It sounds silly, but like I don't wear a lot of tight clothes. And because this one really nips in at the waist, I kind of forgot how nice it feels to have things kind of go in at the waist. Like I was like, oh, look at my cute little waist. So yeah, it was kind of like a fun departure from what I normally wear. So this was like a really great monochromatic. Again, loved pairing it with my little Jeffrey Campbell, little Mary Janes, and then my big flattered bag. And it was just like the perfect gallery hopping outfit. And yeah, that was like pretty much where we ended it. We went to this vegan restaurant that night, which turned into a club, which was wild. We did not partake in, but then we went to back to Soho House because their Porsche was like having a party there. But anyway, it was a whole thing. I wore this the entire day and it was a hit and I loved it. So yeah, and then I just put on the exact same plain outfit to fly back at the crack of dawn on Sunday morning. And that was everything that I wore in Stockholm. And I'm super happy. I don't regret a single outfit. I felt so confident in every single thing that I wore and put together. And yeah, pack a lot of t-shirts, don't wear a lot of color in Stockholm. Those would be my two takeaways. But overall, it's such an incredible city. Definitely a more casual city. Like I definitely was more like fashion forward, I would say, than most people that you kind of see on the streets. But the perfect, like laid back, cool aesthetic. And I just had the best time. So hopefully you all enjoyed this. And yeah, I'll see you all in my next video.